Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get right to the heart of things. I mean, think about it every single day, just this flood of information, right? The world's changing so fast. It's tough to keep up, to really grasp the big shifts. But that's what we're going to try and do today. We're taking a deep dive into something that's fundamentally reshaping how businesses, how organizations everywhere make sense of all their data. We're talking about the global analytics platform market, and everything we're discussing, it's drawn from some really compelling data, projections from cognitive market research. The report Global Analytics Platform Market 2021-2033 Growth Forecasts. So our mission for you listening is to sort of pull out the key insights from these numbers. We want you to really understand the sheer speed of this market's growth and, what does it all mean for companies, for decisions, and maybe even for you. So just to clarify, when we say analytics platforms, what are we actually talking about? Well, these are those powerful software tools, often cloud-based, that companies use.
To collect data, process it, analyze it, visualize it, all that stuff. Basically helping them find patterns, predict what's next, make smarter choices faster. And the numbers, right off the bat, they're pretty astonishing. Get this. Back in 2021, the global market, sales revenue was just over $15 billion.
15 billion. That's already a substantial base.
Exactly. But here's where it really takes off. It's projected to hit nearly $25 billion by 2025.
Okay, so a big jump in just a few years.
And then it just keeps climbing. It's forecast to soar, really, to an impressive $65 billion by 2033.
Wow, 65 billion.
Yeah. So we're looking at a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of almost 13%, nearly 12.8% actually over that whole period.
And what's so fascinating there, those aren't just, big numbers floating around. They really signal this accelerating trend. It's a fundamental shift globally in how businesses are using data.
It's not just collecting it anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's about actively turning it into, actionable intelligence. Think about, say, a big logistics company using real-time analytics. They see a disruption coming.
Like a storm or a port closure.
Exactly. And they can reroute shipments instantly, saving potentially millions. Or a healthcare system maybe predicting where an outbreak might happen days before it really hits.
Right. That's the actionable intelligence part.
Precisely. And this report, it really drives home that this isn't just happening in one place. This growth is, it's truly worldwide, consistent, substantial expansion pretty much everywhere you look.
That definitely paints a clearer picture. And yeah, when you break it down by region, it tells an even stronger story, this kind of global sprint towards data. Let's start with North America. The report valued that market around $5.7 billion in 2021. And it's set to climb to a remarkable $23 billion by 2033. So that's a CDGR over 12%.
Yeah, and if you connect that to the bigger picture, North America, especially the U.S., it's what you'd call a mature market. But it just keeps innovating, keeps adopting these platforms like crazy.
So even though it's mature, it's still growing strongly.
Absolutely. That consistent growth, it just highlights the ongoing investment, the belief in advanced analytics. But what's really striking, actually, is Canada within that region.
Oh.
Yeah, Canada shows an even higher individual CGR. It suggests a really aggressive push there.
Interesting. Maybe catching up, or a very deliberate strategy.
Could be both. Maybe responding to competitive pressure or, Canadian companies really pushing for digital-first strategies. It's quite noticeable.
Okay, intriguing. So from those established players in North America, let's shift over to Europe. Europe registered about, $3.3 billion in 2021?
Sounds right.
Expected to grow to over $13 billion by 2033. So again, a CAGR of more than 12%. Similar pattern. Or are there differences there?
Well, Europe largely mirrors that same robust growth we see globally. Germany, for example, is a huge player there. It's projected to reach over $2.8 billion by 2033, and its CAGR is actually over 13%. Very strong.
Okay.
And you see substantial growth in places like the UK, France, Italy too. Italy's market is set to nearly quadruple between 2021 and 2033.
Quadruple, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it really raises an important point, doesn't it? It just shows how deeply this digital transformation thing is embedding itself across all these different European economies.
Right, not just the tech hubs.
It's exactly. From, traditional industries trying to modernize to maybe newer markets in Eastern Europe. The demand for sophisticated data insight seems, universal.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so if North America and Europe are sort of the foundational pillars, then Asia Pacific seems like the Well, the rocket ship, as you hinted earlier.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
This region is projected to be just a powerhouse, growing from just under $4 billion in 2021
Right.
to nearly $18 billion by 2033. That's the highest regional CAGR, isn't it? Almost 14%.
It is. Asia-Pacific is undeniably leading the charge in terms of that growth rate. China's a massive part of that, of course. Set to hit over $4.8 billion by 2033, with its own CAGR over 14%.
Huge numbers.
But what's truly remarkable, I think, is India.
India.
Yeah, India shows the strongest individual country CAGR in the report, over 14.5%. It's growing from around 637 million in 2021 to over 3.2 billion by 2033.
Whoa, 14.5%. What's fueling that incredible acceleration across APAC?
Well, it's a combination of things, isn't it? Rapid digitalization, definitely. A huge growing middle class that's adopting digital services like mad, and just aggressive investment in tech across the whole region.
So the scale is just massive.
The scale of development, yeah, and how quickly they're adopting digital-first ways of doing things.
Right.
I mean, just imagine the explosion in e-commerce, mobile everything, digital payments.
Right, across these enormous populations.
Exactly. And all of that just generates mountains of data that needs robust analytics.
A truly phenomenal jump then, more than quadrupling in, 12 years?
Pretty much, yeah.
And this growth story, it's not just limited to these, major economic blocks. Let's look at South America. That market grew from about 1.15 billion in 2021, projected to hit over 5 billion by 2033. Still a strong CAGR, over 13%.
Right. And what's fascinating there is that even in regions like South America, where Brazil's kind of leading the pack, and also, the Middle East.
Right, the Middle East too.
Yeah, with Saudi Arabia really pushing forward there, you're still seeing these consistent double-digit CAGRs. The Middle East, for instance, is projected to climb from just under $1 billion to nearly $4 billion by 2033.
So it really isn't just the usual suspects driving this.
Not at all. It really underlines this universal recognition. Doesn't matter the geography, doesn't matter the stage of economic development. Organizations everywhere are getting that data is critical.
A critical asset.
Exactly. Companies are realizing, to stay in the game, to be competitive, they just have to understand their markets, their customers, their own operations, using data with precision.
And finally, Africa. We shouldn't forget Africa. Also emerging as a key growth area, projected to increase from about almost $500 million in 2021 to over $2.1 billion by 2033. Still a solid 12.3% CAGR.
Yep, with Nigeria and South Africa highlighted there as top contributors.
So it really is everywhere.
This broad-based adoption across all continents, Africa included, it just hammers home the global nature of this shift, this digital transformation. It shows that demand for, sophisticated analytics isn't some niche requirement anymore.
It's foundational.
It's foundational, yeah, for having any kind of competitive advantage in today's economy. Businesses everywhere are just drowning in data, really.
Yeah.
And they recognize these powerful platforms are essential to actually harness it, to turn that raw information into a real strategic edge.
Okay, so pulling this all together then,
Yeah.
what does it all mean for you, the listener? It seems crystal clear that the analytics platform market is seeing this really consistent, even accelerating growth across every single major global region.
Yeah, no exceptions, really.
And it's not just big numbers on a page, is it? It feels like a fundamental shift in how businesses actually operate, from, the big strategic planning down to understanding individual customer preferences.
Precisely. The data really shows these platforms are going to be absolutely pivotal, shaping how enterprises make decisions, how they refine their business intelligence, how they get those deep customer insights for years to come.
And it's all driven by that reliance on data.
Absolutely. That increasing reliance on data-driven strategies, plus the sheer speed of digital transformation happening across pretty much every industry you can think of.
Which I suppose leaves us with a final thought, something provocative for you to maybe ponder. Given this explosive growth, this, increasing global reliance on analytics, how might the ability to actually understand and use complex data effectively, how might that become maybe the single most critical skill?
For individuals and for organizations.
Right, in almost any sector over the next decade.
Yeah, it's a powerful thought.
And what kinds of new opportunities or maybe even challenges could emerge from this just insatiable global hunger for data insights? Something to chew on. We'll leave you with that one.
Have you ever stopped to think about just how fast everything is changing? and how vital it is for, well, any business really, big or small, just to keep up.
It's relentless, isn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
And feels like gut feeling or, just relying on past wins isn't enough anymore.
Yeah.
It's all about making these super fast, smart decisions.
Uh-huh.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into this really dynamic area, the analytics platform market.
Right.
And this isn't just some techie niche, is it? Yeah. It feels like it's fundamentally changing how everyone operates healthcare, entertainment, you name it, how they figure things out and plan ahead.
That's exactly it. And our mission here really is to cut through all the jargon, all the noise, and pull out the really key stuff from the sources we've looked at.
Okay.
Think of this as your shortcut, your quick way to get properly informed about this market. Understand why it's growing so fast, what the actual roadblocks are, and maybe most excitingly, what's coming down the line.
Okay, let's dig in then. We hear data all the time, but what's really different now? What's the core shift that's making these analytics platforms suddenly explode?
Well, one of the absolute biggest forces is this growing, almost urgent demand for real-time insights.
Real time, instantly.
Yeah, pretty much. Businesses don't just want to know what happened last quarter or even last week. They need data coming in and being processed, like, now.
Okay.
And this isn't a nice to have anymore, it's crucial. Think about, say, a retailer instantly seeing a sales spike during a flash sale and rerouting stock on the fly.
Avoiding empty shelves.
Exactly, or maximizing that sudden surge. Or imagine a hospital system tracking patient vitals constantly and getting an alert the second the data suggests sepsis might be starting. That's life-saving stuff. So because those decision windows are shrinking so fast, things like real-time dashboards, instant alerts, the ability to handle streaming data, the demand is just skyrocketing everywhere.
That real-time pressure really paints a picture.
Yeah.
And I guess another massive factor here, something we can't ignore, is the cloud, right? How's that specifically playing into the analytics boom?
Oh, absolutely. The move to cloud and also hybrid setups, that's been a huge catalyst. Cloud platforms give businesses scalability, flexibility, ways they just couldn't get before without building, massive server farms.
Right, the cost aspect.
Cost efficiency is a big part of it, yeah. Managing these enormous growing data sets without that huge upfront capital investment.
Think so.
And you also see hybrid models catching on, where companies keep some sensitive stuff on their own premises, but use the cloud's power and flexibility for other things. It's that architectural shift that's really pouring fuel on the fire globally.
You mentioned cost efficiency, but I sometimes hear about hidden costs with the cloud.
Yeah.
Or getting locked into one provider. Is that a real concern for businesses using these platforms?
That's a really fair point, and yes, it's definitely something companies need to watch. Initial costs might be lower, but you have to manage it smartly. Things like data egress fees or just paying for more capacity than you need.
Right.
That requires careful planning. And yeah, the more you build around one specific cloud provider, the harder it can be to switch later on. So it's not without its complexities. Vendor lock-in is a real discussion point.
Okay.
But honestly, for a lot of organizations, the sheer benefit of being able to scale and avoiding that massive initial outlay, it still often tips the balance. It's about going in with your eyes open.
Got it. Smart strategy needed. But it feels like it's not just these big, separate analytics platforms anymore. Analytics seems to be showing up inside other tools.
Exactly. That's another key trend, this rise of embedded intelligence. Analytics isn't just a destination you log into separately now. It's getting woven into the core applications people use all day. Your CRM system, your ERP for managing resources, even data streaming from IoT devices on a factory floor.
So the insights are right there where you're already working.
Precisely. You get context, you get real-time decision support right within your workflow. And the knock-on effects are pretty clear. People actually use the data more because it's relevant right then. Productivity goes up.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it just makes the whole shift to being data-driven feel much more natural across different departments. I had a client tell me once they used to spend half their week just pulling reports from different places. Now, that time spent actually using the insights.
That's a great example. Data where you need it, when you need it. Okay, so that's the upside, the potential. But like anything powerful, there must be downsides, challenges.
Yeah.
What are the big roadblocks companies actually face when they try to implement these platforms?
You're right. It's definitely not always smooth sailing. A major one is what people often call the legacy trap.
Legacy trap.
Yeah, just the sheer difficulty of trying to connect these shiny new analytics platforms to older systems. Lots of companies are still running on infrastructure that's, well, pretty old.
Decades old sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, and trying to get these new tools to talk nicely to existing databases or maybe old ETL processes for moving data or those big ERP systems, it can be incredibly slow and very expensive.
So it's like trying to plug, I don't know, a state-of-the-art VR headset into a dial modem.
Hmm.
The old infrastructure just can't handle it.
That's a pretty good analogy, actually. Yeah. And this technical hurdle, it particularly hits small and medium-sized businesses, the SMEs. They often just don't have the resources for that kind of major integration overhaul.
Makes sense. Okay, so technical integration is one hurdle. What about the people side? Are there enough folks out there who actually know how to build and run these things?
Ah, yes. The talent gap. That is absolutely another critical bottleneck. There's a serious shortage globally of people with the right skills.
Like what specifically? Data scientists.
Data scientists, yes, but also data engineers who build the pipelines, machine learning specialists, people who really understand cloud architecture for analytics. These roles are in incredibly high demand.
And the impact of that shortage.
Well, the consequence is that a lot of companies kind of limit themselves. They might just stick to basic reporting instead of going deeper, or they become heavily reliant on outside consultants or vendors.
Which costs more.
It can definitely inflate costs, and maybe more importantly, it can make the company less agile, less able to quickly build out a new analysis when they need it.
Right, you lose that internal capability.
Hmm.
Okay, tech integration, talent shortage. What else? I imagine all the rules around data privacy must complicate things too.
Oh, massively. Data governance and compliance. They add significant layers of complexity. Think about it. These platforms are often handling huge amounts of sensitive customer or operational data, sometimes across different countries with different rules.
Like GDPR in Europe?
Exactly, GPR, CCPA in California, and others popping up. So ensuring you're compliant, setting up really tight access control so only the right people see the right data, making sure the data quality is good, building audit trails.
Sounds like a lot.
It is a lot. It adds time to deployment. It adds ongoing operational cost. It's this constant balancing act. How do we use this data to get ahead, but also make absolutely sure we're using it responsibly and securely?
Definitely a tightrope walk. Okay, so despite these pretty significant challenges, legacy systems, skills gap, red tape, the market isn't stalling. It seems to be evolving really fast. So looking ahead, what are the truly transformative trends? Where is this all going?
Yeah, this is where it gets really exciting, I think. One of the absolute key trends is the rise of AI-augmented analytics.
AI helping with the analysis.
Exactly. Platforms are embedding machine learning AI to automate tasks that used to be really complex. Things like building data models, spotting unusual patterns or anomalies automatically, surfacing potentially important insights.
And groundbreaking part.
Often it can do this with minimal human input, which is huge. It's basically democratizing advanced analytics. You don't necessarily need to be a PhD statistician anymore to get powerful insights.
So it empowers more people within a company.
Absolutely. It gives more users access to self-service tools, boosts productivity because the machine does some of the heavy lifting, and can even help spot things humans might miss just because of the sheer scale of data.
Wow. Okay, so the AI finds the insights faster, maybe even better sometimes. That really does change the game for, say, a marketing manager or a product lead. But does that mean the human data scientist becomes less important? What happens to their role?
That's a great question, and one we hear a lot. What we're generally seeing is not that the role is diminished, but that it shifts. It elevates it, actually.
How so?
Instead of getting bogged down in the tedious stuff like cleaning data or running basic reports, which the AI can increasingly handle, the analyst can focus on the higher-level strategic work,
Like what?
like asking the really smart questions, interpreting the complex patterns the AI might surface, figuring out the so what for the business, translating it all into action. Their expertise and intuition become even more valuable when combined with AI's power.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. AI augmenting human intelligence, not replacing it. Okay, so AI is one huge trend. What else is shaping the future here?
Another really interesting development is what's called federated or virtualized analytics.
Federated, meaning spread out.
Sort of. Instead of the old way, where you had to pull all your data from everywhere into one giant central data warehouse before you could analyze it.
Which sounds slow and expensive.
It often was.
Yeah.
Federated analytics lets you analyze data where it lives, whether that's on your own servers or spread across different cloud platforms you might be using.
Ah, so you don't have to move it all first.
Exactly. Think of it like A super smart librarian who knows exactly where every piece of information is across many different libraries and can analyze it for you without physically hauling all the books to one central building.
Okay, I like that analogy.
The benefits are pretty clear. It cuts down massively on data movement costs. It supports multi-cloud strategies really well. It's often better for data privacy because sensitive data can stay put.
Right, you're not copying it everywhere.
And ultimately, it means you can get insights faster because you skip that whole consolidation step.
That sounds way more efficient and definitely more secure for certain types of data. But practically speaking, are there challenges in setting that up? Does it require different ways of working internally?
Oh, definitely. It's not magic. The tech setup can be complex, sure. But beyond that, organizationally, you need really good data cataloging. You have to know what data you have and where it is.
Metadata management.
Exactly. And ensuring data definitions and quality are consistent when your data sources are all over the place. That requires strong governance and often means different teams need to collaborate in new ways. So, yeah, it's a tech shift, but also a cultural one.
That makes sense. It's never just the technology, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so AI digging for insights, data staying put. What about just using these tools? Is it still mostly for the tech experts, or is that changing too?
That's the third big trend, really. A huge push to make analytics way more accessible. We're seeing much more intuitive visual interfaces, dashboards you can understand at a glance.
Less coding, more clicking and dragging.
Less coding, yes, but even beyond that, natural language interfaces are becoming much more common.
You mean talking to your data?
Pretty much. Being able to ask questions in plain English using voice commands or just typing a query like you would into a search engine.
Show me sales trends for product X in the Northeast region.
Exactly like that. Combine that with really clear, intuitive charts and graphs, and suddenly you don't need to be a data analyst to get answers. It lowers the barrier significantly.
Which helps build that data culture everyone talks about.
Precisely. It empowers almost anyone in the organization to explore data and get the insights they need for their specific job.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up for our listener. What does this all mean if you're trying to navigate this space? We've seen this really robust, pretty exciting evolution happening in the analytics platform market. It's being pushed hard by that need for real-time speed.
Uh-huh. The cloud adoption, making it possible.
And analytics getting embedded right into the tools people use every day.
That's right. And look, the challenges are real. Integrating with old systems is tough, finding skilled people is still a major headache, and navigating all the compliance rules isn't getting any simpler. Those hurdles are still there.
Right.
But despite those hurdles, the direction of travel is clear. The rise of AI doing the analytical heavy lifting, these new federated models letting data stay put, and interfaces you can just talk to, it all points to a really dynamic and honestly very promising future for any business wanting to genuinely use data better.
So here's maybe a final thought to leave you with. Imagine a future where pretty much every single decision you make in your job, big or small, is instantly informed by this kind of hidden layer of smart analytics. Accessible just by asking a question. What could that really mean for how fast companies innovate, for efficiency, and maybe even how much we rely on our own gut feeling versus the data in this increasingly complex business world?